Good morning again, my beautiful friends. How are you today? I just wanted to stop by and do our 11 a.m. Thursday Facebook Live like usual. Today's productivity tip is about how I created a bullet journal, just a simple, basic, paper-based bullet journal. So I hope you like this one. We're going to try this out. I've been testing how to show items on a desktop. So let me know what you think as far as how you can see it. I think it's a bit better now. I'm learning as I go. I am Suzanna Kaye. I'm the owner and a professional organizer for Spark Organizing. I can do this today. My lips will start working with me soon. I'm the owner of Spark Organizing. I'm a professional organizer and I'm a public speaker. I speak on subjects such as productivity and organization and just the mental parts that go into being happier at work and more productive. So today, like I mentioned, we are doing the bullet journal. Now, bullet journals are great for people, especially if you love paper. I personally am both paper and paperless. So this is something that I've used in the past. I showed you my Rocket Book last week, and that is my favorite method because I love tabs. I'm a queen of tabs, and the tabs can work with this as well. And I'm currently coaching a client who the bullet journal has absolutely changed his life. He's high up in a company, and this bullet journal has become so important to him in getting things done. So I thought I'd share it with some of you because a lot of people think that a bullet journal is something really complicated because when you look at it, it looks complicated. And online they have all these cute ways to make it so personal and yours, but it makes it look even more complicated, which it does not need to be. So this is the simple, very basic, bare bones of the bullet journal. Next week I will talk about customizing a bullet journal to fit in some other things that I find very useful. So it's kind of a two-part series here. This is the bare bones basic structure of a bullet journal that will get you up and running and working with it. And then next week, we'll talk about some ways to customize it that might make you take it to the next level, which is fun, and several ways to make it even easier and even more productive. Let's get started. All right, I'm going to show you my desktop and my bullet journal that I have started for us, and some of the symbols involved. So give me just a moment as I set this up. Facebook Live does not make it easy to do this, but we will make it work anyhow because that's what we do. All right, I think we've got most of it in the screen. All right, so these that you see right now, this is my bullet journal. And these are, at the beginning, it's kind of my legend. These are some of the symbols that we use for a bullet journal in order to be, it's kind of a shorthand. So a bullet journal, the goal is to have quick ideas and then to use this shorthand to, use this shorthand in order to quickly get across ideas. And I'll show you these again at the end, as well as I will post this image in the notes in case you want to refer back to it. But this shorthand are all the different things that you're going to be seeing throughout your journal and that make it quick and useful. Now, I know that on your screen it might be flipped kind of funny. So if you don't know how to lock your screen, let me show you. I just launched my other iPhone, actually, so that I can show you on an iPhone. And an Android is different, but an iPhone, it's simple. You just swipe up until you see that little arrow and swipe up again. It might take a couple times. And then there's this little lock button. And this will keep your screen from rotating when it's on. And then when you're done, just swipe it right back down. So that way we can fit it all in one screen. And it will be a lot easier for you to see what I'm doing. So these are the symbols that we will use. For tasks, an X next, task itself has a dot. The X next to it means that you've completed the task. If there's the sign pointing this way, the greater than sign is what I call it, then that means that task's migrated, which simply means that you moved it to a different day because either it got pushed off of that day, did not get completed, or for some reason needed to be on a different day. And then the less than sign is task was scheduled. So maybe you put it on your calendar for a different day. Events have a circle, an open circle on them. And then the notes, if it's just an idea, a fact, it's not an action that you have to do right now. It's just one of those, we have those brain bubbles that happen and we want to jot it down, then a little dash is the way to signify that it's just a note, not an action that needs to be taken. Then if next to any of these symbols, you can put a star for priority, an exclamation point for inspiration, which just means that this is an idea that you really want to come back and revisit. It's an important idea, not just a quick jot it down. And then this is my horrible version of an eyeball. It's for researching though. If it's something that you need to research further, you might put an eyeball next to it. Now, the bullet journal has several parts to it. Some of the parts of the bullet journal include the index. That is where you list out the different pages so you can find information quickly. And each page has a page number, so you'll be able to flip quickly to what pages have a certain topic, and I'll show you that. We have a future log, which helps you schedule out into the future. A monthly log, it's kind of an overview of your month, and a daily log, which that's where all of your tasks and notes go. So this is the index that I mentioned. Now, our index has what the topic is. For me, here's one of them called product ideas. Now, product ideas, oh, hi, Teresa. Good to see you. Hopefully, you're a notebook person. You're going to love this. This bullet journal is all about the notebooks. Product ideas are listed on pages 1, 2, 6, and 9 in my bullet journal. So these are, once we get to the numbered pages, if I want to find where I've had product ideas, then I'm just going to quickly flip to these pages. If I went to the We meeting, some of my notes were on page 4, or maybe the event was on page 4, something about it. California trip, it's pages 6 through 11. Each have something about the California trip, and then also page 16. So you keep adding to this index, which makes it easier. Now our future log, because there are so many things that happen in the future that we need to capture the information quickly. The future log is usually about a 6 months advance listing. So you can quickly jot down either tasks or events that have to happen at that time. So you'll see, I set this up for October, so my future log begins with November. November, I have a couple of events, and I have the task, because we wanted Kayla to be able, or stepdaughter Kayla, to be able to make some Christmas gifts and have plenty of time to complete it, because it never fails that you run out of time. So I have 2 events that have specific dates, and then I have a task, and I wrote the date of the task for this one because around the 25th is when we want to hopefully make the Christmas gifts. This way, when I start my November month log, I can easily migrate these over into November, or I can add them to my calendar, whether it's a paper calendar or whatnot. It could be a digital calendar. This captures the information quickly during the day because this bullet journal should just be with you and near you. And all of a sudden it will, whenever the inspiration hits or an event comes up, you can quickly jot it down. Oh, I'm sorry, Natalie. I don't know why you're getting an error. Hopefully maybe try to close it and reload it. Hopefully that'll help you out. Yeah, I don't know. If not, if it doesn't help, let me know and maybe we can try to troubleshoot it and figure out why it's doing that, because I'd love to be able to have you watch. Now, I will also post this online afterwards, Natalie, in case that error keeps going for you. Then just watch, and I always post back on the page the recorded version too. Now, this is the month log that I mentioned. So after the future log, we break it down by the month. And you'll see along the side, you have the day of the month and the date of the month. So the first is a Sunday, the second is a Monday, and it's really easy to see which day of the week it is along with that date. And then you just write any major events or anything that you need to remember for that day. So there's a speaking engagement I have on the 12th. I have a birthday on the 26th. And then I've got an event on the 30th. And of course, Halloween is the 31st. And I just want to keep that in my mind because that way I will remember that a lot of people will not be available because they will be doing their other things. So this is a quick month view. And then also on the other side, you can see the tasks for the month. So this is kind of a good brain dump area of things that you want to manage this month. So for example, on the 26th, we plan to launch the 365 project, which some of you have heard about the 365 project, which is the email reminders and listings to guide you to keeping your home like spring cleaned all year long with little minimal effort. A little 15-minute or less task a day. So that project is to be launched in October on the 26th. And just as a reminder, if you do want to be part of the beta testing for the free version, just shoot me an email or jot down in the comments here what your email address is or send me a private message so that I can get you on the beta version. Also, this month, there are a couple of things I wanted to do, such as submit my Udemy course and finish Kayla's Halloween costume. So both my personal and my work stuff go on here, simply because in the greater context of things, since I do work from home, these things merge often. So I need to have an idea of everything that needs to happen. And then I've got an X next to this one because it's already happened. I've completed this one, which is to schedule Karen for one of our events. So I've got an X next to that one. Oh, thanks, Ruth. Yes, if I don't write daylight savings time in something, then I will forget. And I have definitely been known to be completely off before as far as daylight savings time and my watch. It's so easy for me to get distracted and forget completely. So the next version is our daily log. And you will see this is where the page numbering begins. I want to make sure that you can see at the bottom the page numbers. Each page will just simply get a number next in order. And on this page, we have the date and what is to be done that day. These are past days along this side. So you will see that I have X's and I have some of my symbols starting along the sides. That's because these are days that have been completed. So I've already either marked them off or I merged them to a different day. I migrated them. On this side, you'll see I have today listed. And on today's actions, you'll see I've got the dots for the tasks that have not been completed yet, an X on the ones that have, and an open circle for the events. So quickly I can see what the events and tasks are. If I do have an inspiration, I can do the dash and then write down my inspiration. I can also create priorities easily. Like I mentioned, if you do the star symbol, that's a priority. Super easy to do your top 3. I know that I promised Linda last time that I would talk about fire time and top 3s. So top 3 is always knowing what your 3 most important to-do tasks are for a day. So usually what I would do is I would mark whatever of the top 3 that will get me closest to my goal are at any one time. And then once I complete something on my top 3, I would then find what's the next most important task. This works really well on some of those brain dump tasks lists where you're just trying to decide what to even merge onto your day. I don't often use this on my day. Some people do use this for their daily log. Usually this I use on that brain dump list that we had back here. So I can quickly mark what my top 3 are. So I make sure that those get onto the day. And then once they're completed, I can do my next top 3 there so that they're always getting onto my day. So I'm working on the right things at the right time. The other thing you might notice about my day, I don't have a lot of tasks on here. Like I mentioned last week, if it won't fit on a Post-it note, it won't fit in your day. And there's so much truth to that. It's difficult to get over scheduling our tasks. It's amazing how our brain thinks we can do so much more even when we've proven to it otherwise over and over again. But I purposely try to put only a little bit on here because one of the things that I do is I physically schedule on my calendar what I call fire time. And like I mentioned last week, and Linda asked about, fire time is a block of time in your schedule where you have nothing. So as far as fire time goes, usually I have it midday. I block off an hour of time where there is nothing scheduled except for simply fire time. If something happens, either early in the day or I can keep moving that block back up my day in case I need it. Throughout the day, if something happens that throws everything off, if I have some emergency that comes up, if I have a higher priority item that presents itself, and most days this happens, right? We get a phone call that completely derails us, or we get a project that needs to be done all of a sudden, right then, this part needs to be done for somebody else. That can completely derail our day. So I use my fire time in order to take care of those emergencies. And the nice thing is, at the end of the day, if I've not used my fire time, I have that last hour in order to brainstorm, do some of the extra tasks that might not have been completed yet that month, or just catch up on things that I would like to be able to do more, such as writing thank you notes, personal thank you notes to people. Sometimes that gets pushed off of my list because it's just simply not the highest priority and something else is more important at the time. But to me, I really enjoy writing thank you notes to people and communicating with people. So that can be my fire time if nothing more urgent came up. So that right there, Linda, is fire time. And I highly believe in it. It has changed my life. It's amazing. I hope you all can benefit from that one too. So along with this would be my fire time. And then that is the end of the official bullet journal portion. The rest of it, keep numbering after your days. Sometimes what I do is I will go about a chunk in and I will put a tab, like my tabs that I used in the Rocket book. So you'll see me, and you could just do a simple little post-it note, add a tab so that it sticks out so you can flip to this day easily. And then that way I can quickly flip to this section and do notes. So you can start your numbering. You could either guess how many pages, you can like start your page numbering there, or a lot of times what I will do is I will just start something such as 1A. So that way from that point forward it's 2A, 3A, and I know that this is kind of the notes portion of my book. And when I'm in meetings or when I'm inspired or listening to a class, I could take my notes here. And then in my index at the beginning, I can write down that my notes are on those pages. So if I had the WE meeting and it had a lot of notes, a lot of great information that day, I could take the notes at the meeting and then refer to where those notes are later as far as where they're at in the journal. And any tasks from that meeting, I can quickly add to my month task list or my day task list, or I can schedule them for which month I will be doing them. So this is a great way to keep capturing information in this bullet journal. Now, a lot of times people will print up pages, pre-printed, pre-structured pages, and they'll put them in a 3-ring binder. That's great. If you wanted something that's more attractive, if you want something quick, that's perfectly fine. But I do find that the act of putting together the journal every day it's kind of a meditation. And now that we're done with this, I'll come back to you. It's a bit of a meditation, just planning out your day each day with this. So the act of drawing out some of these lines and numbering things and writing the dates really gets your brain into a more calm and reflective place. So the structure of it is actually helpful. Drawing it out each day or each week, or as you fill up a book, when you do your next book with your future planning, that is helpful. Use that time to just be quiet and in your space. And then at the end of the day, as you're preparing the next day and planning for the next day, all you have to do is just be quiet in that space and be migrating things over. So at the end of a notebook, you would migrate some things over as well. All of your future appointments, you would want to go ahead and move to the new notebook, and that's when that greater than sign comes in, because that means that you've migrated it to a new notebook. If you find that you've got a lot of meeting notes, and this was one of my coaching clients was having trouble because he'd write down all of these meeting notes and these important ideas, but he travels a lot. So carrying old bullet journals is just not practical for him. So that index, we actually were able to create an Excel spreadsheet and reference each of these topics and which pages in which journal they are. And then the journals just got scanned as PDFs. There's a simple app called Genius Scan, which is the easiest way to do it. Just do a bulk scan of each page of that journal and label the scan as far as what number journal that is, and then upload that to Dropbox. So that way in the index, at the end of the book, he'll update his index in Excel, which does not take too terribly long, add the page numbers, and then he can also add the journal number if it's in a different journal. So it's always with you. You always have those notes available. You can quickly go to that PDF in Dropbox of the journal, go to the page number, and all of those notes are right there. So you've got it access all the time. That's if you wanted a little bit of the paperless and accessibility that comes with it. Otherwise, you can, if you don't travel a whole lot and you don't need this immediately accessible, you can just simply keep your journals or toss them when you're done if there's nothing of importance. Once you've migrated it to a new journal, it's up to you whether you keep it or not. Sometimes it's nice to go back and see your days, but you don't have to depending on space. So I hope that helps as far as setting up the very basics of a bullet journal. Bullet journals can be really, really useful, especially if you love paper and if you enjoy that meditation time of planning your day and reviewing your day. Either way, even if you are completely digital, planning and reviewing your day are essential for making the right choices as far as what to work on, what your priorities are, and which tasks are important, and to maintain a clear focus about where you're going in your work. As I mentioned, my name is Suzanna Kaye. This is the 11 a.m. Thursdays Productivity Facebook Live. I do hope I get to see you next Thursday as well, where we will talk about customizing your bullet journal. And there are a few ways that I absolutely love to customize my journal, not only to make it, prettier and more fun, but to make it more useful for keeping my goals in focus and keeping me on track in a more holistic way without adding a whole lot of time to my day. So I hope you join me next week at 11 a.m. Check out my website if you want to find out more about me. And if you have a group that would like to learn more about productivity, please, I am a professional speaker. Have them reach out to me. I'd love to speak to your group. Have a wonderful day. I absolutely love you all. I will see you Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our family home organizing Facebook Live, Wednesday at 6. Throughout the month of October, we have our grief organizing after loss Facebook Live, and 11 a.m. on Thursdays is what you're watching now, productivity. Have a beautiful day. I love you all.